What is going on, guys? This is Miasin, and I know I'm late. This was, posted on April 14th, and I don't know what day we are today, but yeah, sorry for being late. You know, it's because of the ban list, right? It's always the best excuse for me, but yeah, this is OCG Metagame Breakdown number 1. This is the second one post-ban list because number 0 is also after the ban list, you know, as you can clearly see. It's so unfortunate that they lost one Kieran. Must not be nice having to be forced to play the deck correctly. But yeah, before we go any further, I would really appreciate you guys if you could smash the like and subscribe button. And also a huge shout out to my sponsors Inspire TCG as well as Dueling Guard, and please check them out and use the coupon code YASIN656 for 5% off. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Alright, so first things first, it covers 151 top performing decks from 34 tournaments in Japan, mainland China, South Korea during the span of a week. Which is not too bad, it's pretty much average. Number 1 best deck is Fire King, but not by a long shot, and then Snake Eye Pure is the second best deck, which is interesting, right? Because again, in the TCG, it's, I mean, to be fair, because of the ban list of the TCG, Fire King is also kind of becoming the best deck. Now Pure Snake Eye is like, I don't know. Even though I can definitely imagine people still doing very well with Pure Snake Eye, in before this ages really well. And then Voiceless Voice right after. Again, they do have the continuous spell card from Legacy of Destruction. This is not going to be a thing in YCS Rally. I don't know if this is already Rally, because I don't know when this video is going to be posted necessarily. And then Yubel, okay, yeah, sure, another good deck. Tenpai Dragon, sure. Yubel, I want to say, is in a very good position right now. It has a very good Tenpai Dragon matchup, and it has the Phantom of Yubel, the new fusion monster. It's just such an insane card. So yeah, it's pretty good at the moment. And Tenpai Dragon doesn't have its support from Infinite Forbidden yet, but it is also a very good deck, of course. A little brain dead though, you just play a lot of hand traps and a lot of one-card starters, and then you just hand trap your opponent to death, and then you kill him. It's really stupid. Anyways, Ritual Beast, of course, another Shifter deck. I am not looking forward to having to face that deck at all. I don't like Shifter. And also the deck is pretty good, even without Shifter. Anyways, Despia, okay, Labyrinth, Centurion. Friendly reminder, of course, that they do not have King Calamity. The card is banned, but the new support from Legacy of Destruction is so good that it just doesn't matter, right? Even without King Calamity, the deck is still very good. But for the TCG, Centurion might be like up here, you know, top 5 best decks potentially. It's a really scary deck. Especially, again, with the new Synchro monster. It's really that card that changes everything. And the new Quick Play spell is a decent one of as well. I mean, that's the reason why the deck is just so good at playing with and under through Shifter, you know? So it can main deck Shifter even. Anyways, Chimera, again, they do have new support in the form of Diabelzi and of the original Sin. I don't think it's gonna change that much for us in the TCG though. Dinosaur, okay. Dragon Link. This deck got murdered, I think. Yeah, Burrowed Savage banned. Yeah, forget about it. Yeah, in the TCG, this deck is super banned. Alright, Flundery, Salamangreat. Salamangreat, they're getting Code of Soul in Legacy of Destruction, so that's pretty awesome. Rescue, sure. Infernoid, decent deck, and also dodge the ban list. Link Rebo doesn't really matter too much. And the deck was not really a synchro deck, so Savage and Baron, not like I can say that I really care. Runic, sure, actually another very good engine or deck, whatever. Sky Striker, same, very good, but the pure Sky Striker deck is actually trash, but the engine is insane. I will cover that very soon. Supreme King Magician and Supreme King Melodious, that's super copium. I think pure Melodious is just better because you can play so much more non-engine, and the deck is just... it's really compact. You can play like a lot of one-card starters and everything. I think it's an extremely good deck. Infernoble, Purely, Rika, Synchron, Code Talker. What the hell is this? More question mark decks. What? Okay, Ice Bearer, very disappointing. Manadome, this deck is mega banned in the TCG, Baron banned. Yeah, enjoy playing without your best extra deck monster. And then Tier Elements, isn't like every single Tier Elements monster limited in the OCG? How the hell are they playing with that deck? 0 Kid Kalos, 1 of everything, 1 Field Spell, 1 Reino Heart, 1 of everything else. Yeah, let that make sense. Valmonica, okay, Yubel Unchained. This should be inside Yubel. So this should be 12 Yubel. So in other words, Yubel should be tied with Pure Snake Eye as the 3rd best deck, which is, you know, it's something. Anyways, let's get into the first deck list now, which is Fire King. So the only really spicy thing here is, well, first of all, main deck Artifact Lancia. I actually think that's really stupid. I think the card sucks. But, I mean, maybe not in his environment, but whatever. Some people, I mean, a lot of people, potentially most people, they are playing Fire King Consort Volcanics as well as Fire King High Avatar Garunix, obviously, right? It comes as a package in their Fire King Snake Eye deck. So The reasoning behind that is that now, when you're going to your Fire King combo, you're going Garunix effect to destroy the Volcanics, and then Volcanics will trigger in order to summon the High Avatar Garunix from the deck. And then you can overlay both that are level 8 into Photon Lord, which beats Nibiru. Because I don't know if they're trying to beat Nibiru by keeping the Flamberge and then reviving back Arvada or making an Appaloosa. But now there are just so many options. Unless you get like Nib and Impermed, you're usually winning. Yeah, it's really the only way I can see the end board fly. But if you get like Nib Veiled, you can still kind of beat it because you can have so many ways of negating the actual hand traps. Like again, Arvada, Photon Lord, Appaloosa. There's just there's no spell and trap negates. At least not in this deck. The pure Snake Eye deck, they still have Savage and Baron. Yeah, everything else very standard. 2 Diabell Star, that makes me want to vomit because there's only one wanted. Just play 3 and play 1 for 1. Like, come on, just stop clowning around, guys. 2 Snake Eye Ash. Like, the deck did lose some consistency, so you really have to compensate by playing as many starters as humanly possible. But they don't care about consistency. And I also disagree with Prosperity because this is not a mid-range deck, but rather a combo deck. You really do not want to banish 6 cards. And also, to be fair though, I was gonna say it conflicts with the draw of Wanted and Heat Soul, but the deck can't play, I mean, at least in the TCG, Heat Soul is no longer a thing because Link Rebo is getting banned. I mean, it's already banned. And Wanted, in the OCG, I mean, it's a 1, so I can understand. And in the side deck, they're not playing Summon Limit anyways, they're playing Solemn Strike, so, you know, and Skill Drain as well. Very good card, actually, because your monsters, they have a lot of attack and they keep recurring themselves over and over, so I can definitely understand. And the rest is not really relevant. I guess Cyframe Delta, one noteworthy thing is that it can negate Heat Wave against Tenpai Dragon, so that's not too bad. Alright, pure Snake Eyes. There is also not that much to cover. I don't know if I'm a big fan of Dramatic Chase and Silvera in the main deck. I used to do that, but I would rather delegate it to the side deck. I think that's better. A lot of consistency, I do like that. So 3 Diabell Star. Actually, 41 cards, never mind. 3 Chicken Game. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not insane, but it does make Magician Souls a little better. And also, it's a card that you kind of send for free with Original and your Snake Eye monster. So I do understand the principle. And also, nobody's on Droll. That's actually a decent meta call, if anything. At least at the moment. It might be a one-trick pony. Maybe you use Chicken Game for like 1 tournament, and then people start playing Droll, and then you just cut it. Because the Snake Eye deck itself, it doesn't really lose to Droll. If you go like first action, normal summon Snake Eye Ash effect, and then you get Drolled after you Surge the Populace, it doesn't matter. You're making 3 interruptions. IP into SP, and then Princess Engrave. So that's fine. But if you get Drolled after your Chicken Game's first draw, you're screwed. yeah, things are not going well. So yeah, that's the only drawback. But, I mean, I don't necessarily dislike it. One thing that pisses me off with Chicken Game is that there's nothing to draw into going second. So this card is useless going second. Very bad. If you draw into your hand traps, it's bad. Even if you draw into Imperm, it's bad because it's a card on your field. It's not like Upstart Goblin. So a lot of drawbacks, honestly, with Chicken Game. There's a good reason why the card is getting unbanned at the TCG, and it's not going to do anything. Nobody cares about this card. The best application for Chicken Game at the moment is making set rotation, not force you to play a garbage field spell. I guess it's the best one, but again, it does conflict with the pod cards, Extravagance, Prosperity. Not that Extravagance matters, but whatever, you get the point. The extra deck, nothing of value. Nobody's playing Synchros even if they can. Jet Synchron is still a thing over there. They have 1 anti-spell and 1 summon limit, and they're choosing only to play 1... they have 3, and they're choosing only to play 1 of each. If you do that in the TCG, when every card is a 3, people will 100% laugh at you. You will get bullied. Actually insane, man. So many 1-ofs. It's insane. So many random unsearchable 1-ofs. Like, you might be saying, but Yak Sign, D-Barrier, and a Pointer of the Red Lotus are searchable by Thrust. Yeah, well, Thrust is an unsearchable 1-of in a 41 card deck list, so I don't know about that. You know, at this point, you might as well commit and play 3 Thrust with 1 of each of these cards and just forget about the anti-spell and the summon limit. I understand trying to cover ground, though. That might make sense, you know? I'm not necessarily against the idea of just having diverse, like, floodgates and oppressive cards. It makes sense, but, like, you gotta put a lot of thought into it, you know? It can't just be random cards that you put in your deck and be like, yeah, bro, trust me, I've thought about it, bro. Like, my logic is insane, bro. Because this side deck, it's really ugly to look at. That's all I can say. But whatever. I just love talking shit, honestly. You already know me at this point. Voiceless Voice, okay. So Sakuma apparently played Ultimate Slayer in his extra deck. That's not too bad. Yeah. It doesn't look like that insane. I guess you can use it against Yubel. You bounce back their Phantom of Yubel. You send Elder Entity Entis or Garunix. Garura. and then you either draw one card or destroy another card. It's not like trash. And then they can also end on Xyz monsters, and then you can send if they're ending on the DDD Wave Hiking Caesar, which I don't think they are anymore, you can send the holy crap, I'm stupid. Meteorologic Aggregator, then bounce back and then negate something else. It's not too bad. And for the links, of course, same thing. You can send the Trap Brigade Link 5, and then that sends Garura. There is nothing else. I guess if you... Oh yeah, obviously, if your opponent has Synchro Monsters, you send the Herald of Arclight, and then you search freaking Skull Guardian or the Ritual Spell. That's not too bad either. And also Omega. And then if your opponent has Fairy Tail Snow Engrave, you can also shuffle that back in the deck. Yeah, it's, you know, you can do some nice things, not gonna lie. Now, I will say this guy is really high IQ for side decking the Blessing, the continuous spell, instead of main decking it. I kept mentioning in every single one of my breakdown videos that this card, it's good, it's a good card, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't fix any of the issues of Voiceless Voice. The deck is still just as bad going second, and if anything, it's actually less consistent now. The only thing that you're gaining really is more power, but usually when you can play the game, you're winning anyways, because people have hand shops and then they hand shop themselves when you have, they hand loop themselves when you have a good hand. So it doesn't really matter if you have a card that just makes your grind game better and just makes your good hands better. It's a win more, honestly. That's really what it is. So that's the reason why I wouldn't main deck this card. I would side deck it instead. I think it's better in the side deck when you know for a fact that you're going first. You want to have as many recovery cards as possible. And it's also, again, very good in those grindy matchups. So if you have to play against something like Runic Stun, your good matchup becomes like an even better matchup. Every single turn, effect, recycle back. And then you also got the barrier effect to search. It becomes a lot of pressure for any kind of slow deck. But for the combo decks, for the really aggressive decks like Fire King and Pure Snake Eyes, you gotta play as many hand traps as humanly possible, and this is the reason why we're seeing 11 in this main deck, with 3 more Nibiru's and then 1 Ogre for Tenpai Dragon potentially, as well as Veiler. The Ogre could also be a cross-out target, but with cross-out being at 1, I don't really think that's the case. It's really just for Maxi. That's the reason why there's a lot of 1-offs sometimes for going second. I understand, you know, the OCG, they really just want to draw different cards or maybe catch their opponents off guard with random unpredictable bullshit. So yeah, again, I see it. It makes my eyes bleed, but I understand. Nothing else that's too interesting, I guess. Instead of the second Seravis, we're seeing Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon. This card is very good if you can resolve it against Tenpai Dragon, because when you negate their spell effect, then you can summon Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon, and then they can't use any monster effects during the battle phase, but there is no Odd Eyes Meteor Burst in the extra deck, so what the hell is this doing? And we're also seeing a Dogmatica package, which is not bad whatsoever. It's just that it conflicts a little bit with the pots, so if anything, I'd say remove the pots, and then you can still play this engine, and then you can also play 3 pre-prep if you really want to, but this card is kind of like a pre-prep anyway, so you might suffer from too much redundancy, because, you know, you can't draw one card with both Garura and Extravagance and Prosperity, so sometimes you're just going neg 1 for no reason. I guess you might as well just foolish like Omega. I mean, if you're going first at least. But, yeah, it's just, I don't know. Or like the Fossil Monster, so the next turn you can banish them and pick apart boards. I don't know. It's just, whatever. Just find, like, a solution. Anyways, Yubel, very interesting. Their end board can actually do quite a lot. And, you know, they can end on an Omni Negate, the new rank 10 monster. It's a card that, just 2 level 10 monsters, you get to negate anything and by detaching 1 material, but then you're just negating, you're not destroying. And then if you want to destroy a card on the field, you can also do that by detaching material. And you don't necessarily have to destroy the card that you're negating, you can destroy anything else on the field. I believe it doesn't target. So it's actually a very good card. It's basically the new rank 10 Baron, so maybe that's the reason why Baron got banned in the TCG to promote this card. So I don't know, it could make sense, honestly. But yeah, they can end on that because the Yubel monsters, I mean, the original Yubel as well as Spirit of Yubel, they're both level 10 monsters. Not a lot of, I mean, the Unchained package is microscopic. We're seeing Sharvara with no trap card. I can understand that. Sharvara is a better version of, what's his face? Aruha, if you only really need a searchable fiend monster that can destroy something to summon itself. And then also get access to Unchained Soul of Rage, while also going into Soul Lord of Yama, because having it in the graveyard is huge. It's a very good card, but you don't necessarily need the trap card, and I feel like you've never really needed it. And you also do not need to rush DDD Wave Hiking Caesar in order to negate Nibiru, because Phantom of Yubel is basically a vicious Astrolaut for this deck. that beats Nibiru anyways, so it doesn't really matter too much. I really like everything about the Yubel deck. I think it's a really scary deck, and in the TCG it will honestly be terrifying once we get Phantom of Yubel. I think it's going to be in the top 3 best decks for sure. If Voiceless Voice is also a play deck, this deck wipes the floor with the Voiceless Voice. It wipes the floor with Tenpai Dragon because it is very difficult to OTK through a monster that's just so annoying. Can be destroyed by battle, and also it reflects the damage to you. So what are you gonna do? Like, you have to go into your extra deck by going to like Samurai Destroyer, but that defeats the purpose of the OTK, because then you're using your resources to break a board instead of killing your opponent. And then if you also can't kill your opponent, if your hand is not good enough, then your opponent survives, and then he kills you. Yeah, so it's pretty rough for a Tenpai Dragon. So even if you got the out as a Tenpai Dragon player, you still absolutely do not want to face Yubel, and you have to handtrap them very early so that they can never go into a single Yubel monster, because once they get there, you have pretty much lost the duel. And also, the Voiceless Voice matchup is 100% free, and the reason why I'm saying that is because their Skull Guardian has 4050 attack, and if they're forced to attack into your Yubel, all it really takes is one attack and then they die. You know, they're reflecting back, they're being reflected the damage because of Yubel and also Nightmare Pain. So it's more than enough for them to just get killed in 2 seconds. And what are they gonna do? Just never attack? Never play the game? They have like 0 removal. They have like a trap card that destroys. Yubel, all the cards, they float when they're destroyed. So you think they care? Not really. And yeah, very consistent deck as well. 3 Samsara Lotus. I really like the fact that there's only 2 Dark Beckoning Beasts, because I actually think that card adds way too much unnecessary redundancy to your deck. And for the hand traps, this deck is still able to play 11 from what I'm seeing, with 1 Eternal Favorite. That is the same card as the Hero deck. Monster Reborn as well as Super Poly, pretty good card. And then Rivalry, because everything is a Fiend, and the Fire King deck loses pretty hard to Rivalry. You got Fire Beast, Beast War, Wing Beast, as well, well, not really Beast War, Arvada, I guess. And you also got Pyro and Dragon monsters, and the extra deck is just like all over the place. You got everything. You got Spellcasters, Warriors, you name it. Yeah, everything. So yeah, very good deck again, in a very good position right now. If you can invest in Yubel, you probably should. This deck is going to be extremely good in the near future. And when I say near future, I mean very near future. Anyways, Tenpai Dragon, I don't want to waste too much time here, but there is a new kind of tech card that people are experimenting with, and it's Time Lord Progenitor Vork Pate. It's a cute card. It's a level 10 synchro monster. Basically, when it battles, you banish every monster upon controls, and then on the end phase, he gets them back. But since you're banishing everything for the that currently exist, then at least like all of your monsters, they can still battle and then go for game, because the goal is not to like outgrind your opponent. So it doesn't matter, because if your opponent is getting back the things on the end phase, because you're killing your opponent anyways. But yeah, 43 card deck list. I also don't know if how I feel about that. A lot of board breakers actually. That is different from what I usually see. 2 Santa Claus, okay, that's a kaiju that is not once on the field, because kaijus, you can only kaiju your opponent once, and then you have to get rid of the kaiju and then kaiju again. Santa Claus, you can just double Santa Claus right away. The only drawback is that on the end phase, your opponent draws 1 card, but bruh, if you're getting to the end phase with Tenpai Dragon, you've lost the game anyway, so it doesn't matter. This card is always better than kaijus, always, when you're playing an OTK deck at the very least. What else is worth noting? Yeah, I mean, the Thrust, Change of Heart, Triple Tactic Talents, Lightning Storm Duster. I would play double Lightning Storm. I think it's a very good card. I would also potentially look into playing 3 Droplet, but I don't necessarily think you need it. Apart from that, no, I think everything is relatively fine. I would try to cut it down to 40 cards. Extravagance with 3 of the relevant synchro monsters, that can make sense. As long as you don't banish like 3 of the level 7, you should be fine. The level 7 is the one that you really need. Ironically, Trident Dragon is the really expensive one that people are trying to look into now. If you don't have the card, it's simple. Just try to look into your collection, and if not, then just ask your friend. You know, that's the good old meme that people are going with as of right now. But yeah, this card, even without it, you can still OTK, because it only adds 21,000 damage to your combo. Only, right? Only. I can't believe I'm saying that, because the combo deals 37,400 damage. So you can still dish out like 16,400 without this. Yeah, what a time to be alive. And then everything else in the side deck also gives me aids, 3 Drago, 2 Power Filter, 2 Kaiser Colosseum. So many floodgates, huh? In a going second OTK deck. But yeah, in conclusion, this format is dog shit. I'm not looking forward to it. Farking Consort Volcanics is pretty cute. It is playable in the Farking deck. If you want to use it as a starter, you can also do that, but usually people are just destroying it with Garunix in order to be able to make Photon Lord. But alternatively, they could also go into the Coach King Giant Trainer and draw a bunch of cards, because there's that, there's Kirin, and there's something else. Flambridge. No, I'm just kidding. You're not trying to use Flambridge as an Xyz material under no circumstances. Flambridge only triggers its effect when it's sent from the field or a hand to the graveyard, not from like everywhere. And of course, as a material, it's not treated as being on the field. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.